All right. My name is Brian Haney. This is my introduction before we get started here. I was in the Army for 3.5 years, finished my bachelor's degree a few months ago. I was actually still doing my bachelor's while I was in this class. I got out of active duty and just immediately got into an accelerated bachelor's degree program. Took me 2 years to finish. So that's great. I want to continue my education in data and business intelligence so I can market myself better professionally and kind of move into a consulting role so I have these tools. The reason for my analysis was overly a general lack of mentorship when I was younger. I didn't know if college would be the best path or the military would be the best path for me and what kind of like routes that would take. So I ended up choosing college at first, and I did 3 semesters before I flunked out. And I joined the military immediately after I flunked out. And here I am now, finished my bachelor's degree and all these wonderful things. And I wanted to know, like, realistically, what is the best route if you were to go to college for 4 years right after high school or join the military. And I analyzed that financially. So we're looking at 4 years of college or 4 years of military. Which path will lead you to the most success? Analyzed median veteran income per state, veteran unemployment rates versus civilians, veteran career incomes 1 year, 5 year, and 10 years post-service, and veteran advantages to top 7 MBA colleges. I used Agile methodology, Excel, Python, SQL, and Tableau. And let's get started. So to start here, we're going to talk about Agile methodology and its role in my project. We started with project breakdown, which we were able to segment everything into sprints, and we delivered a practical portion of our analysis for Capstone career planning Python every sprint. So we had something tangible at the end. We did daily stand-ups to review progress, address issues, and strategize our future steps on our projects. We had continuous feedback for our Agile team members and instructors, which was so great. We were able to collaborate really well with our Agile team too, and there's a lot of problem solving and sort of note sharing that we were able to do with our Agile teams. And towards the latter half of the course, I focused as a Scrum Master and kind of got that hands-on leadership role to help me prepare more for the Agile frameworks. So now let's go into my data research and what I did in Excel. There was a lot of data sets that I wanted to analyze that I really couldn't, and I ended up settling with the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Census Bureau data, CPS population survey data, and top 7 MBA school data. So what you see here in this little screenshot is just a snippet of what I did in Excel. I took all of the raw data sets and I combined them into one Excel and then diverged them into sheets. You see the veteran career incomes here. And I did this is my largest data set. It had 1,500 rows in it, which it's big enough. There was a lot of extra columns here too that were just kind of junk, like dictionary information that I didn't need for this analysis. So I was able to quickly just remove those in Excel and make everything ready for Python. And in Python, I did a lot of exploratory data analysis and cleaning too. I just wanted to start with just looking at the data before I did any type of cleaning. But I noticed an immediate problem here when I looked at what exactly my data types were converting into, and they were floats, and I needed them to be integers because I couldn't really do anything with floats. So when I tried to convert them normally, it just wouldn't work, and I ended up having to create a for loop here to convert all of my floats into integers, and these are all the columns that needed to be numeric. I also ended up having to do a median and mean analysis because there was a lot of null data in my incomes for my data set here. And I needed to understand which conversion would make the most sense. So I created 2 histograms and I compared them. I started off with converting all of the null data because there's a lot here. I did a null check here for just only one column, and there were 744 null types, which is not good. And I needed to fix that. So I ended up doing an analysis on median mean. So to start here, I converted all of the columns in earnings that had nulls to fill NA for the median data set. And then I plotted a histogram to see what that would look like for median. And this looks pretty tame. And I did the same thing for the mean up above. And I created another histogram. And as you can see here, the mean data is a little bit more crazy and inconsistent. So I ended up going back up to my mean conversion here and just kind of Xing that off and running with the median data set. And then after this, I converted everything back to the way it needed to be and ported to an Excel. Ooh, let me switch back here. So that was what I did in Python. I moved after I converted everything to Median. I pushed everything to SQL, and I had some issues with SQL, which were less than ideal. So I didn't get to utilize the SQL as much as I wanted to, where I was getting a lot of crashes on my Mac. But I ended up using SQL to kind of give myself an analysis for my data. And as you can see here, I took some of the earnings post year 1, 5, and 10 and saw what states would pay the highest, or what jobs would pay the highest and what states those would be in. So year 1 percentile is what I ordered it by, because I wanted to see what data set or what state and what MOS would pay the most if you were to go the veteran route, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. So this is what I did in SQL. Like I said, not much because it was crashing a lot, unfortunately. But let's get into my income analysis here. So I ended up analyzing to start with veteran and civilian income data, and I found that the median annual income per the U.S. Bureau of Labor was $65,696 versus civilian at $54,000. And the states with the largest difference in pay, number 1 being Puerto Rico at 59%. So if you're a veteran and you want to get paid almost 59% more in the average, go to Puerto Rico. But Virginia, Alabama, and New Mexico also still had almost half as an increase in pay difference. And then the top 5 states with the highest veteran pay, we see District of Columbia, where the average pay for veterans is $77,000. This is from 2022. And Maryland here at $67,000 versus 46 and 66 here. So if you're a veteran, these are the places you want to go. District of Columbia and Maryland make a lot of sense because there's a lot of contracts, veteran civilian work here. So we're going to move on to our unemployment analysis here, where we see the states with the highest and lowest veteran unemployment rates. What's in orange here are the only states where the veteran unemployment rate is higher than the civilian unemployment rate. So this is going to be Wyoming at 6.4%, Hawaii, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Utah. These are not many states, which is great to hear. And Alaska apparently has 0.60% unemployment rate, which is great. So if you're a veteran, you want to get some work, go to Alaska. Now we're going to move on to our occupation data here. So this is assuming that you chose the military route and you want to know what job pays the most. So we look at the year 1, year 5, and year 10, 50th percentile earnings and what it looks like if you're in the average after year 1 and what MOS, military occupation specialty, what job you want to pick. So the communications and intelligence kind of MOSs fall under this bracket as being the most paying after service. So you're looking at an $88,000 pay after 1 year of service, 5 years of service, post-service. You're looking at $98,000 here. For electronic equipment repairs, year 1, you're looking at 76 as the average. And I didn't even list the 75th and the 75th percentiles here, which is just even higher. So these are the MOSs that you would want to choose. And this is important too, because if you're not sure, if you're just given a list of jobs and you don't really understand what direction you want to choose, if you're looking at that job list and what your future might look like, this is important to look at. Because if I had known, I chose truck driver and I had the opportunity to go intelligence, I could have been looking at an $88,000 pay increase 1 year after service, which is important to know. And it's information that is not displayed publicly. So now we're going to look at the Magnificent Seven here. So these are the top 7 MBA schools if you were to apply for an MBA post-service, and what kind of advantage you would get as a veteran. And I chose the top 7 schools because business is the most common degree field that veterans go into at 27%, and then 24% for health and STEM. So I wanted to look at the top 7 MBA schools and what kind of weight that holds as a veteran. And it's quite large. We're looking at a 14% increase here with Chicago Booth and 11% at Yale. Some more interesting stats here. that I wanted to include that I found in my research where student veterans were found to have a 72% increased success rate in higher education and average GPAs, 0.40 higher than their civilian peers. And nearly 2/3 of student veterans are first generation college students. And I myself am a first generation college student as well. So now we're going to talk into some of our challenges here for this data. And there was really a lack of data. In my original hypothesis here, I was assuming that the civilian life would lead more to a higher pay, and that the only way that it would skew is if there was access to compensation and benefits data for veterans who are injured. But that data doesn't really exist. I wanted to compare veteran post service income and how compensation can increase that and make quality of life better. But that data set didn't exist, unfortunately. There was also no data on psychological effects either, and whether or not veterans are genuinely more have a higher quality of living, a higher benefit to living, whether they're happier psychologically. That data set doesn't exist either. There's no data on GI Bill usage rates either, so I couldn't find a data set that shows how many veterans are going into the service and using those benefits, using that GI Bill benefit. I couldn't find it. I also only found one data for job selection, which was in the Army. But there's a lot of conversion here, a lot of vehicle repairmen, intelligence jobs that kind of convert similarly. And then I had a lot of SQL crashes on Mac, unfortunately, as well. And then the lack of time, but that's a given. So to summarize here, I would say that choosing the veteran path is the more successful path, shockingly. I would say that if you're a high school student and you're listening to this, which I doubt you are, I would push you towards the veteran path, the military path, because we're looking at a 21% advantage to median income as a veteran versus civilians here, which is just everywhere in the United States. A lower unemployment rate, you have better career placement, 88,000, depending on your MOS, 1 year at the 50th percentile, right after your first year of active duty, which is crazy. College graduates average around 65,000 1 year after college. So having this is pretty huge. And then there's a huge advantage to the top 7 universities, given that a lot of veterans go to the Army lifestyle and they say, hey, I want to get my degree. Well, how can I fare at the top MBA schools? Well, you can fare at a 54% advantage if you choose to go that path. So all in all here, I would say the veteran lifestyle is a tough path, but based on these financial success numbers, I would steer anyone to go the route. And this is what you can expect in your future. So thank you guys so much for listening, and have a good day.